When it comes to racing games, I'm pretty casual. I enjoy anything that you can play with a controller when it comes to racing. So anything that's on console or PC, something like Forza Horizon, which is really good, Rocket League, Trackmania, even GTA, I would consider that like a racing game. But there's a whole world of people that play these are games that are referred to by that community more as simulators instead of racing games. I think we'd offend a lot of people calling them games, so I'm probably going to offend a lot of people when I refer to them as games. We're still playing, okay? Even if they're simulators. This includes titles like Assetto Corsa, and there's a more modern version called Assetto Corsa Competition, I think, and I think it's French, which is nice for a racing game, I guess. iRacing, RF Factor 2, Project Cars 2, Automobilista, and even games as old as Richard Burns Rally and GP Legends. Some of these titles are actually truly ancient, but they have active communities right now that are modding the games and are active racing leagues, so they're still relevant. If you play anything in between, either it's these hardcore racing titles or any of these casual experiences like myself, what we're going to look at next might be for you. But first, let's pay some bills. This video is sponsored by Xiaomi. Xiaomi have a line of amazing devices with both the Xiaomi 12T and the 12T Pro. The 12T is packing the 5nm MediaTek Dimensity 8100 Ultra chipset to balance performance with a 30% improvement in power efficiency of the CPU and the GPU. The 12T Pro is Xiaomi's ultimate device with a 200 megapixel camera behind the powerful content creator camera modes like movie effects, vlog mode, long exposure, and an impressive night mode. For more info on Xiaomi's amazing range of phones and so that you can see the ridiculously good price, check out the link in the description. Alright, these sim games, these complicated racing simulators. To enjoy these fully, to their max, many people spend tons and tons of money on these dedicated rigs with racing seats, screens, and places to mount wheels, pedals, gear shifters, and just a whole bunch of paraphernalia that you would use for driving. But this is obviously a massive commitment due to how expensive it is and how much space an entire rig takes up, especially if you live in a small house or live in New York or something, you know? It's huge. It's a huge commitment. This is where I think the Thrustmaster T248 shines as a racing wheel and a pedal set. Like it's great for enjoying racing simulators while also being affordable and practical enough to be accessible just by anyone, like myself, even the casuals. In the box you get the wheel, pedals, a clamp for mounting the steering wheel, and all the cables that you need. Apart from the PC or console and something to mount the wheel on, this is absolutely everything that you need. You can manage the cables to come out of the back of the wheel's housing using the Velcro strip and clamp the wheel to a desk or to a table. The wheel is connected to power with a cable that is included in the box and to the PC or console with a USB cable, and the pedals connect directly to the steering wheel, so it looks really neat. I just wish a lot of the stuff was wireless, but you know, that latency, maybe that's a problem. When setting up your steering wheel for the first time, there's a couple of things that you need to take note of. Firstly, make sure that the desk or table that you're putting the steering wheel on or connecting it to is sturdy. The motor in the wheel is really powerful and you want it to be mounted to something that won't move while you're racing. Connect everything and mount the wheel before connecting it to the console or the computer. If you've never connected a steering wheel like this before, you probably don't know this, but as soon as you connect it to a PC or console that is switched on, the wheel's going to start to calibrate, so it's going to start moving around vigorously. And you don't want the motor, because it is so strong, you do not want to be holding onto it or have it lying somewhere while it calibrates. It's might fall off the desk and just bang around. Connect it properly first time. Just be like pig wrestling a steering wheel in your room. I've been there, done that, it's not fun. There are two models that you can look at, both of which work on PC, but the one is made for Xbox and the other one is made for PlayStation. So take note before you purchase which one is compatible with your system. The specific one that we got is the Xbox model. It's plug and play on consoles, and to get it working on your PC, you simply have to install a driver from the Thrustmaster website. It's pretty easy to put up, set up, and get going. When you look at the wheel, you immediately notice the customizable screen at the top and tons of buttons. You can choose what to display on the screen in-game, like your position in the race, the revs, or your speed, and all the buttons can be remapped however you want. The console's controller buttons are here as well, so you don't need to use a controller while the wheel is connected, which would be a little bit cumbersome. The only time I think that would be relevant is that if you're using this to play something like GTA, where you want to run around on foot with the game controller and then jump onto a steering wheel when you hijack a truck. On the PC, you can choose to use these buttons for other things. All the buttons and switches have a real quality feel, and because there are so many, you can have everything that you might want to adjust while you're racing at your fingertips. This is great for professionals. The wheel itself is a little bit on the small side. It's sitting at 27 centimeters, but you get used to it really quickly as you start racing. I think a pro of the steering wheel being small is the fact that it is more compact and it does potentially fit onto your desk or in different environments, especially inside a house. But the con is that I don't think a lot of professional steering wheels are that small. When you use that and you jump into a car, it really does feel like you're jumping into like a massive truck or steering a ship in your car, and at the house you're just using like a little, not milking a cow, I'm steering a wheel, okay? At the back there are two paddles you can use to shift gears. These have a super fast response time, and they work with a magnetic system that offers good resistance and have fewer moving parts than other systems, meaning they are extremely durable. They actually feel really nice when clicking them. I really like the fact that they're magnetic like that. The pedals are very similar in the way that they work with a magnetic system that offers good and consistent resistance and are once again extremely durable. I mean, they've got to be. That's where your feet are. You're going to be kicking this thing. This also feels really high in quality. You know, you want some quality there. You might want to weigh it down because you can move around while you use it, but it's heavy enough to work even if you don't. If you're struggling to weigh it down or you don't like the way that it feels on the ground, there are screws, I think 3/4 inches underneath the pedal, so it's designed so that you can screw it to a racing rig if you want, but you could potentially build something that it can screw into. You've got the option. There's a lot of customizability here. In terms of practicability, as soon as you set it up once, breaking it down and setting it up again both only take a couple of minutes. This means that you can set it up and use it on the spur of the moment before breaking it down to get access to your desk or table again, which is great for people that are stay-at-home, so stay-at-home office as well as your gaming desk. You could choose to simply leave the pedals on the floor, which isn't a bad option, and only store the steering wheel away, but even if you have to store both of them away, they don't take up too much space together. Alright, so apart from being high quality and very practical to use, what makes this particular steering wheel so good and sets it apart from other steering wheels like this on the market? Why would I recommend you buy it instead of the many other ones that are out there, and a lot of those other ones are potentially a little bit cheaper? A massive factor is the strength and quality of the force feedback. The motor in this product is strong enough to offer great resistance in turning the wheel and give the correct amount of feedback when you drive over a bump or when you have a full-on crash in specific games. The strength comes in part from the type of transmission system that it uses. Cheaper wheels are typically gear-driven, they're not as strong or detailed, and they're a lot more noisy. This is quieter in comparison. This wheel uses a combination of gear and belt, which enables it to be stronger and quieter, but also gives you a more detailed feedback. This is because it makes adjustments at thousands of times a second with a very precise strength. What this is important for is what simulator enthusiasts like. It's the holy grail. They want the most immersiveness from the titles that they're playing, and this makes it way more immersive. Together with great graphics and audio, a wheel with good force feedback enables the driver to effortlessly imagine themselves really being in that racing car. It feels more authentic and experienced. Many racers will upgrade from a cheaper wheel to this one for this particular reason. The reason for this is that real racing drivers get information about what exactly their car is doing, from vibrations through their seats, G-force, acting on their bodies, years and years of experience sitting inside a car. You know what it's like if you drive. Sim racers need the wheel to make up for the fact that their seats can't vibrate and that there are no G-forces in your room, unless you're on on one of those rigs that give you that G-force. You don't feel like you are inside a vehicle on a racetrack. There are rigs that you can get that are on motorized platforms that rotate to simulate the G-force drivers miss out on by not actually being in a moving car. So basically a wheel that is really good at conveying that information through the force feedback makes immersion much easier to achieve and takes up way less space than, than a room with a rotating floor. But I mean, if you got the space and you got the budget, I want to see photos. Jokes aside, you might find the idea of force feedback really scary, but you don't have to be concerned about this at all. This wheel has 3 modes for the feedback, one of which is great for arcade games like Forza, and the second being extremely realistic, and the third actually enhancing the feedback. The precise strength and nature of the feedback can be adjusted very precisely inside the simulator using many different parameters. There are many videos on YouTube that you can check out that can show you how to adjust these to get the exact feeling that you want. It really doesn't have to be any stronger than you want it to be. So all in all, it's a great wheel. It's really well made. It's extremely durable. It's got features that I think a lot of standard steering wheels that you get entry-level ones don't have, especially if you want to upgrade and get something that's a little flashier. It's super easy to set up and use, especially if you've never done this before. And if you don't like racing games or aren't looking at or simulators and you're not looking for a steering wheel, I don't know. Maybe this isn't for you, but for those of you you're on a little bit of a budget, but you want something that's a little bit more exciting, this might be for you. At the time of recording this video, it was about $6 grand, $7 grand to get. For a lot of people, that might seem super expensive, but the fact that it comes with everything and it's got features that a lot of higher end steering wheels have means that I think that this is actually really worth it. But you're going to have to weigh that up for yourself depending on the types of games that you play, the time commitment that you make, and the space that you have. And I think those are the big key factors here. It saves you a lot of space. It can be connected to a bigger rig later, which is something that you might want to do. It's a great way to get into racing games if you want to just grab a steering wheel and go. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. I'm going to be doing some drifts virtually right now. I'll see you guys in another video.